Let's test things out right now. Testing, testing. Testing out my audio. Sounds good. Okay, I've got a few people watching now, so how's the audio sound? Good, good. Sometimes picks up things that are not what I want. Just thank you. Like a million things happening around my neighborhood, and so I'm hoping that none of that stuff gets picked up in the audio. Trees getting cut down, new driveways getting paved. It's a busy little Thursday. Hello, folks. We'll just give it a couple more minutes to let some people filter in, and then we will get swinging at this. Okay. Um, 12:04. We'll go ahead and get things started properly here. So, welcome in, everybody. This is Everyone D. I mixed everybody and everyone together there. I apologize. So, welcome in, everyone, to the May Lunch and Learn. For those of you who aren't familiar with my voice, I'm Matt Goins, with the WiscWeb team, training, support, stuff. Um, and I do have Jenna on the line too. She is muted right now, but we are here for this month's kind of chat. I sent out the agenda this morning to kind of run down. There's one thing that I did add to the agenda that I didn't email out. It's not going to affect anyone too significantly, but it is something that we're going to touch on right away here. Um, the first thing that we wanted to touch on was we had patched WordPress earlier this week, I believe, maybe last week. It might have been earlier this week. I can't remember. We do a lot of patching, testing, patching, more patching, testing, things of that nature. But we patched WordPress core recently, within the last week. And then this morning, there was a security update for WordPress core. So we're going to be applying that patch for WordPress core. So we're going to be going up to WordPress version 5.7.2. Um, and it is a critical security. Like, it was an exceptionally high security alert for patching to the new version of WordPress. So we are going to be doing that this afternoon. It is necessary. We apologize. There shouldn't be any issues from our standpoint. It's going to be a pretty quick process, but there may be a moment in there for a minute, a few minutes, where um, WP admin, when the internal editing environment might, you might see a few issues there, just either logging in or while you're logged in, you might experience like some weirdness there. it should be pretty quick. If you notice anything, try logging out, logging back in, or just refreshing wherever you're working on. But we do need to make sure that we patch to it because it is a it I think out of 10 it was a 9.8 on their like importance meter. So we figured, well, we probably should go ahead and get that patched there. So that's the first thing I wanted to touch on. We're going to be patching WordPress core this afternoon. Don't worry about it. We're just making sure that we're keeping up to date with all the major security updates. Second thing I wanted to touch on, something that had come through recently, was I'll drop the link in to our chat there. I want to send out a big link there in the email there, but I'll drop it in our chat. We noticed this happening. Sorry, lots of windows open. So there's apparently a forms, and it's not specifically targeting any. We use Gravity Forms, so it's not specifically targeting any type of form, but there's a phishing scam going around that is uh, using forms that are being sent through email. Again, phishing is it's asking you to click on a link or go to a particular website or something of that nature, and it's trying to get data or information from you. It's now coming through the forms, so we just want to make sure that people are aware of this. Many of our service users use Gravity Forms for their email information, so just be aware of that coming around. We saw that come around again. You can see it's from last year is when it was posted. So we just want to make sure that people are aware of any issues that might be coming through, or any emails that might be coming through that are suspicious. If it isn't the content that you were anticipating getting from one of your forms, don't click on the link. You know, don't be safe. So I wanted to touch on that as well briefly, and then moving on, a couple of things that we wanted to just update you about as well in general about WiscWeb. Um, for those of you who have been attending the Learn with Mats, I am starting to post them on our site. I'm just making news articles out of them, and then also putting them on the training page as well. So if you go to wiscweb.wisc.edu and go over to the training page, they're here. These are the various little hour-ish long videos that I'm doing that are basically just me learning how to do something or me showing you all things that I'm thinking about in relation to user experience, content strategy, stuff like that. So I'm now putting these on the training page so everybody has access to them. And then the last little thing that we wanted to touch on before I start showing off some things is also as part of the email, the agenda that I sent out this morning, we have the network maintenance this weekend. It's Saturday morning this time, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. I believe it is. It's that 2-hour window. Your site should be relatively unhindered during that time, but it is required maintenance that our servers have to undergo. So it's going to affect your ability to log in, your ability to edit, and things of that nature. But they're doing it in relatively slow traffic hours, so hopefully nobody is affected by that too much. But it is necessary. So just be aware of the fact that Saturday morning, 12 and 2, between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m., you won't be able to do much with your site. Okay. So those are the quick hits. Now let's get into things that are going to be coming up with the WiscWeb service in general. Um, First things first, we do have a UW theme update coming. I believe it's June 10th is going to be um, our date of releasing that. There are several things in the hopper for that are going to be coming with that update. Um, One of them is, and this is going to be a redux, a recall back to something I talked about many months ago. I think it was like 3 months ago now where we introduced this, but the new buttons are coming. The new buttons button is coming. So I thought I'd demo that again just for those of you who maybe didn't see it, and just kind of show off what the button is going to look like. This is one of the things that's going to be coming with the theme update, but this is our dev environment, so it's not yet live in production. But I'll just kind of show off essentially what it will look like and what it can do. So I'm just going to create a new page, call it button testing, scroll on down. Type in something, and then the new button is this colored button link icon right here. So if you mouse over it, you can see insert UW button link. If you click on that, you get this little window that pops up. It has the various options that you will have for your buttons. So if you click on color, you either get blue or red. If you get size, you get default or large. If you get style, you get default or reverse, and I'll do two of these so that we can see the differences there. Your text, your link, and there's that one. And then I'll insert another one. We'll leave this one blue, leave it default. We'll change it to reversed. And there you'll see what they kind of look like in the preview here. But I will save the draft. Once that's saved, I will click at a preview. And this is what they're going to look like on page. So just similar to the buttons that we've had in the past, but now you're not going to need to um, tinker around with um, any of the code or anything like that. Um, let's see. Will there be any reason to update our existing buttons? No, not really. We're not. I don't think we're breaking the buttons. You might want to check them after we run the theme update, but basically we're just making this easier for you. And also we'll be changing that KB doc out so that people don't have to worry about, you know, messing with the code at all. Yeah. The code is basically the same. If I click on text and I look in here, I mean, it's basically the same code that was there beforehand. It's just that now none of you don't have to actually fight with the code. We're applying the UW colors, we're applying, fonts, all that jazz. We're doing all that. You just click a button to create a button. Yeah, Jim. Um, so that's the button um, that can be in the text block. For more fun now, if I click add page element and I go to group of links, header text, I'll just call this a flock of buttons because now you can make your group of links available as buttons as well. So I will style as buttons, and now you get those styles again. We'll leave it as blue. You get the size, you get the reversed action. I will use a predefined menu, and I have just a quick links menu here. So I will click Save Draft and preview. Oh, I thought I had more links in my quick links. Oh, menu. Oh, main menu. How about a test? Otherwise, oh, I know why it's not there. I just deleted all of my pages. I'm a smart man. Add a link. Button one. Oh, jeez. I deleted everything out because I wanted it to be easier for me to see all the pages and things like that. So give me a hot second here. Do it live, they say. There we go. So you'll see here, um, there's the button group of links now. Let's see. So Michael, yeah, it's right now. So essentially, the button will only appear for the text editor anywhere that the text editor is available. This isn't something that's going to be added into like the featured content block or anything like that because those are areas that don't have the text editor essentially. So what you have done in the past can still work essentially. Um, but just watch out for the code as you've done. But no, the button is just something that we're adding to the text editor areas. It's not being added to anything else right now. That's not to say that that's not something we can't look at in the future, but right now this is just something that we're adding to the text editor area specifically. So obviously you can see that you can create buttons out of the group of links. This is definitely one of those things where we have to make sure we caution you against, you know, overuse of this particular option because you don't want a 7 word button. Like try to keep your buttons 1 to 2 words. Um, don't try to put full sentences into a button. I've seen it. It's not pretty. So just stick to 1 to 2 words. Don't overuse it. Don't try to make an entire like section of your site just all buttons because I don't know, just aesthetically it's just not going to look all that great. But it is something nice to add for, breaking up, as Michael was saying, boring group of links, break up some of the monotony on a page. Again, more visually appealing, uh, you know, greater calls to attention, calls to action. Um, things of that nature. So the new buttons are coming. Ta-da! Let's think here. What else is coming or has already? Oh, um, gosh, what? This is something that is in, I believe, is in production now, but I just wanted to mention it because I know a lot of folks do use this. But for those of you who use social media, specifically Twitter in this case, because um, this is where we've seen some inconsistencies. We have been working with the theme so that it can better adapt to that post to Twitter as well. So one of the things that you will want to make sure that you're aware of is when you create a all right, let me just create when you create a post, so let's say big things happening this weekend. Tune in for more. Um, there's the featured image option over here. So if I click set featured image, let's see. Let's go with Bucky. That's trying to think. That's large also. 512 by 512. This is a smaller Bucky right here, so this will help me um, uh, demonstrate this point. So I'm going to set a featured image. Alt text Bucky throwing up the W. Set the featured image. And so you'll see down there. So this featured image now should be working better. The function that will make an image appear when this is posted through social media. And there's been some inconsistency there with the UW theme handling that type of stuff, but we've been working on that. I believe that's in right now. But this will fix that problem. So toggle featured image. I'm sorry. Add a featured image should look better now with your social media postings from your sites. However, I do want to touch on one thing though, because I do see this often as well, is when you set the featured image and you publish your item, I'm going to leave it as draft right now. The featured image will always appear at the top of a post. This is default WordPress behavior, so it happens regardless. What you'll notice is if you just use like a little thumbnail for your featured image, you just have some little image that you always use for your posts, or you just use like a smaller image for that featured image when you are going to be posting things on social media. By default, WordPress will always put that image at the top of a post. So what we had done in the past was we triggered this little thing right here, toggle featured image, this little checkbox right here. I think we're still working on this dialogue to be a little more informative and to be a little more, I guess, straightforward with what you should do and what you should expect. So this is likely going to change. I don't know if that's changing with the next theme update or if it's going to be something that will be in our future one, but at least this function works right now. But if you click toggle featured image, what this does is it still posts it as the featured image, but it removes it from the top of the page so that you don't have this gigantic image up there on the post itself, in case you don't. If you do, leave it unchecked. But often I will see an image that is not high quality set as the featured image, and then it automatically posts into here, and it just looks bad, for lack of a better way of putting it. So just be aware of that. So works good for social media. Is there an optimal size for images for social media? I don't know. Usually, I tend to stick with my 900 by 600, which is the at the moment recommended size for our featured content blocks. But we have to look into that a little bit as well. I don't know really. I guess it depends on the image itself that you're getting. Larger is always better because the larger the image, the higher the resolution, the better quality you have for the different sizes that you can put it into. But I don't really know if there's a best. Just larger is better. Okay. New buttons, dunzos. Okay, other things that are coming. I don't know if they're necessarily coming with the theme update, but here we go. So featured image doesn't show up here. Where does it show up? Let me publish this guy. Let's go back to the pages. Let's go back to the button. Let's add a post listing right there. Drag that up. All posts show featured image right there. I'm not worried about the rest of the stuff. Save draft. And preview. And that's where they show up, right there, Jim. So it is a way to add a little bit of art to your news lists, your articles, your posts, anything of that nature. I think I did a navigation one in the past as well where you could do this with pages. Pages you don't necessarily use for like your social media usually. Usually you're using it for posts, news articles, things of that nature. But this functionality can still be used if you wanted to link to pages, but we can get into that at another time. Um, okay, where did my brain go? Okay. Um, so a couple of other things that are coming with I don't necessarily know if they're coming with a theme update specifically, but we are working on them in this current work sprint. So they are coming soon, quote unquote. But the first one that I want to touch on is for those of you who are currently in the process of building out any sites within WiscWeb, so your URL has, something.wiscweb in it, we are going to be adding a banner to your dashboard area. That's basically, we're calling it the unlaunched site banner. But it's just to let you know that your site is not launched. So for those of you who your site has launched, you shouldn't see this. But for those of you who are currently in a building process, so that you have a URL that is something.wiscweb.wis.edu, you will start to see this. Really, we just needed a way to confirm, or not confirm, but to indicate to you that your site is technically not live. Literally, it is live because it's something.wiscweb.wis.edu, but it's not yet at the URL that you want it at, something.wisc.edu. So we're trying to make that more obvious with this banner that is going to appear at the top of an unlaunched site. And it has the instructions there for you. It has this pre-launch checklist, which links out to our launch page, all of this information right here. And then it also has on it this button right here, which is the schedule launch button. And that will lead you to this form right here, which is our launch request form. That's it. That's what we're putting out there. Again, for those of you who have a launch site, you won't see this. But for those of you who are either going to be requesting new sites or are currently in the process of building out your site and haven't launched yet, you will see this. Don't be alarmed by it. Just be aware of why we're putting it out. We're putting it out there because we need you to know that your site needs to launch. We went through a pretty big audit. I don't remember when, end of last year, heading into this year, where Jenna and Dan, who works with our team from time to time, went through and just found all the sites that were just not launched yet. And people just weren't aware of the fact that they actually needed to launch their site. So, it's just one of those things where it was an oversight on, all of our parts where, we didn't keep up with letting you know you had to launch. You weren't aware of needing to launch. We're working to fix it, make it a little bit easier. So again, if you see it and your site isn't launched, don't be alarmed. If your site is launched and you end up seeing this banner, let us know so that we can take a look at our code to make sure that we've got everything copacetic on the internal side, so that you're not seeing it when you're not supposed to see it. But we're going to be testing this pretty soon, so it'll exist in there. And then the second thing that will be coming soon is something that we have been working on for quite some time now. And what this is it is going to be a little modal window that when you use Gravity Forms, not every time, but you will have to agree to it once. We are asking you to agree to not collecting particular types of data. This is in response to just a lot of back and forth conversations that we've been having with um, certain groups, with the cybersecurity team. We've had a lot of voices in this conversation. Essentially, we just need you to sign off on the fact that you're not collecting sensitive or restricted data through Gravity Forms, because these aren't secure ways to collect and store that information. It gets sent through an email, it gets saved into the plugin area itself. So anybody who can log into WiscWeb can get access to that data if they have access to your site. Um, you might be putting that stuff in other areas of storage where it's not safe to put it there either. So we just want to make sure that we're covering our bases to basically say we've let you know and you have signed off on the fact that you're not supposed to collect this type of data. So this will be coming soon. You have to click off on it. It's not going to be something that you see every time. Jenna, I will unmute you quick just because I don't know. Do we remember what the timing is of when you have to sign off on this?
I think we did at least 6 months.
6 months? Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that we had that. So again, we just need you to sign off on it. But we also need you to adhere to it as well. So this isn't like a you click agree on some software that you're installing. Like, just be aware of this. Make sure that you're aware of what you are and are not supposed to collect through Gravity Forms. So, yeah, that's it really. It'll be coming soon for those of you who use Gravity Forms. When you go in to edit your forms, you will need to sign off on this. I shall hold for any questions that come in there as I also collect my breath because I talk a lot. And again, we don't have an ETA on the two of these launching, but it's going to be soon. We've been working on this one specifically. This one's been in the works for quite some time now, and so we really want to get this out there. Okay. Let me look at my agenda. Security update. Data modal. Learn with Matt. Network maintenance. UW theme updates coming June 10th. New buttons. Unlaunched banner site. Oh, yes. Jenna, would you like to talk about this other thing?
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Let me check my OBS real quick just to make sure. Too many windows open. Yes, you are unmuted. People can hear you.
Hi, everyone. So we have recently started a new process by which to submit feature requests. This is something that we've long wanted to do, but just hadn't figured out the best way to kind of capture those in a publicly visible way, and in a way in which you could maybe upvote and provide feedback on requests. So we're actually going back to an old process that we had demoed with our community of practice group years ago. So for those of you who are there, you'll remember. It's using GitLab. GitLab is a tool that we use for maintaining some of our code and doing deployments. But it also has a really nice issue board that allows for upvoting, commenting. You can have categories or sort of labels for tickets. And we can also make that board public. So we've documented the process by which you should submit a new feature request when you have them in our knowledge base. So I'll put that link here for you to review. It's also just listed on the website briefly.
Yeah, I have it. I have it up now, so
Yeah.
yeah. So it's at wiscweb.wis.edu, and then if you drop down on features, it's under feature requests, and then there is that knowledge base document that Jenna was referring to. Excuse me. And then in there is the link to our GitLab feature request. board.
Yep, if you click on that.
I am there.
Cool. Sorry, my video is a little delayed with from what I see here. So this is the doc. It kind of walks you through the process. There's a link out to the GitLab board that Matt's clicking on there. This is what it looks like. You likely, if you're not logged in already, will get the screen to log in. So Matt, if you could open with an incognito window to show what that looks like, that would be great.
Sure. T, and then
Just because it is
open
a little
this
bit.
board.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Are you in incognito? Oh.
I am.
Did it just go automatically to it? It didn't require NetID login?
No.
Oh, well, if you for some reason do get prompted with NetID login, there is with a login screen, there is an option to click NetID login below the username and password fields. So that is something that is a little bit different. It's not the most obvious, but if you do get that, just look right below the username and password fields, and there should be something that says
let me do it. Let me do it in this
NetID
window here, because I am. Nope, it took me right there as well.
Well, maybe it's not going to be an issue for everyone, but the instructions do show it like an image of what you'd see. So then when you log in, you'll see that nice her existing feature requests. Some of those are carryovers from the old community of practice board that we had. And then a lot of these are ones that we've just kind of kept in a spreadsheet over the years. Where possible, I do try to keep the original person that asked for the request in case we have follow-up questions or in case we need to look at their site for some reason. So you will notice that as you click into these. I just added one for Michael Block regarding adding buttons to feature content blocks. I actually made it more of a full WiscWeb text editor because that would allow all features, including like bolding text, things like that, not just buttons. And so I've listed Michael there. If Michael had comments that they wanted to add there, you could. And then if you go back, Matt.
Damn, my internet is acting squirrely at the moment, so I shall go back again.
So you'll see there that we have several labels already added. I had added those based on the fact that some are specific to the UW theme potentially, and some might be more plugin based, or some could be either or. We don't require the user to add any kind of labels there. Matt, could you go to the top and click on the create new?
So here's what Jenna was talking about beforehand. So I clicked on new issue, and because I am not logged in yet, it is forcing me to log in. And so now there's that button right there, UW Madison NetID. So
sorry, yeah, it's
please hold.
When you click on that, not when you just go to the regular link. Yep.
Please hold whilst I duo. All right.
Sorry, I just have to wait while my screen refreshes with what you're saying. So what you're going to want to do is give it a title. So being specific here is really helpful. So if, for example, in the case that Michael just brought up, just saying adding new buttons doesn't really tell me what it's for. But putting something like adding new button or adding buttons to the featured content block is a lot more helpful. So being very specific there is great. And then there's almost like a template there in the description field. So you can skip the type field that'll just stay as issue, but in the description field, there's a couple different things that we would like to have there. So where it says remove this text and add your description for your feature here, you can just select that text and delete it and then type in your request. If you have examples, so for example, with Michael's request, he actually sent me 2 links to his pages, which were excellent examples of what he's looking for. So you can add them there. And then your customer or requester info, so your name, your email, and a link to your website. Like I said, that's helpful for us so that we could follow up if there are questions, which commonly happens with these types of feature requests. And then when you're, oh, sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
I wasn't. I was
Oh.
taking a breath to. I thought you were done, so then I was going to say something. But you continue.
Okay, and then submit issue will kind of file this.
I'm not going to click that.
Yeah, you can cancel yours. And then it'll go into the list. What we would like is before you submit a request, if you could just use that search at the top of the list to confirm that no one else has submitted a similar request, because ideally you just upvote their request rather than submitting a new one. That's much more powerful for this reason specifically. So if you click into any of those, Matt, and show where the upvote.
Yeah. So this is what I was going to say for what Linda was asking regarding like signing on as an interested party. So if we go full WYSIWYG text editor. Here are the ups and downs. So if it's something that you're interested in, you may click the thumbs up sign. If it's something that you think is not necessary, you can click the thumbs down sign. There are other reactions that you could add as well, but do they have the ability to comment as well?
They should have the ability to
Okay.
comment in there, and
Mm-hmm.
comments are helpful. So if there's an elaboration, so let's say like you're like, yeah, I love that, plus I want this because of this need, that's really helpful. Also just saying like, yeah, I'm interested too, and here's my site. So adding that info as well. The upvotes and the commenting is really what populates something called popularity in this list. And that's one of the tools we'll be using to determine how widely used what these features will be on campus. So the more upvotes, the more comments, the higher it will kind of rise. That's not the only thing we'll look at, but it's certainly going to be helpful because we get feature requests daily. And it's really challenging because we have a very small team and the equivalent of 1 developer. And so we really have to find things that are going to be widely used on campus that are going to have the most impact for users. So we will sort. Matt, can you see on that page you're on where it says due date in the top right? If you click that drop
In the
down,
top right. Yeah.
you can sort by popularity.
Aha.
So that's one of the features we'll see, and you'll see that the items that were upvoted or comments added would kind of rise to the top of that list. What we're hoping to do right now is kind of look at these on a quarterly basis and incorporate them into our quarterly planning. So where we see something, let's say, we've gotten 5 upvotes for something and a couple comments, we're realizing that it might be a need, we'll take a look at it, see if it's feasible, and if so, we will, work it into our planning process. So we're really going to hopefully use this moving forward a lot more. We encourage you to add your features here. But like I said, please search for existing ones first, because upvoting existing ones is so much more powerful than creating a new one, because yours is just a duplicate then of something, and then neither will get as many votes, or I guess as many as if it were one, I guess. So yeah, definitely try that out. We're in early stages, so probably still working out some kinks. I think this is a group of almost 30 people, so it's a good test of the process. If there are questions with the KB documentation, there is a way to kind of provide that feedback in the doc itself. Matt, could you click into the KB and scroll to the bottom to where the comment field is?
Yeah. Click into the KB.
The KB doc that explains the steps.
Yep, I have to go back to all the things that I have open.
Sorry.
Feature. No, it's fine. I have so many windows open and okay. So I am now down at the bottom of a KB article where you have the comment button.
That's the best way for us to get feedback on our KBs, and we do encourage you to use that because we do update our KBs anytime we get that feedback. So if someone's like, oh, there's a broken link in here, or, you know, this really doesn't make sense to me, could you add some more steps or maybe imagery? That is super helpful information for us. So as you go through this, if you're finding that you're getting stuck on the KB documentation for the steps on how to submit a feature request, please let us know by clicking that button and adding your comment that goes directly to our team.
Okay, I'm looking over at my audio and I realize that there's a bird outside that people can hear through my microphone. Apologies for that, but like I was saying before this started, it's loud in my neighborhood today. Okay, so the feature request form, we hope that you guys do use it. Like Jenna was saying, it's funny that we are a very uh, our service is very large. We have a lot of websites that we assist with. We are a very small team. And so the more that we can focus on the things that the people want, the better we have the ability to go to the people that we need to talk to say, this is what we need, and this is what we want to work on moving forward. So, and I guess not to put too fine a point out on it, but be realistic. We've had the conversations in the past. People request all kinds of plugins from us. We can't add in any plugins. We look at them and we can't support them. We can't make sure that it works every time that we. You guys see how much we struggle with just making sure gravity forms, WP data tables, and events calendars work on a regular basis. Adding more just adds more to our workload's not the right word here, but like more for us to try and maintain amongst a small group of people. So the better we can make it for everyone, the better that we can get these things in. All right. Thank you, Jenna. I also realized, so a little behind the curtain here, I usually mute my mic when Jenna's talking, but I don't mute my mic for where Jenna's talking from. So she can always hear what I'm doing, but you guys can't. And I think I threw her off a couple times there when I muted my mic for you guys and not for her. So it was funny because I could hear that you like stumbled a little bit. Okay. Last thing to touch on is coming on Monday. I'm going to be updating the Gravity Forms plugin as well as the redirection plugin. So that's going to be happening on Monday. However, well, I shouldn't say however. It was going to happen today, but I lost my notes. Where are my notes at? There they are. It was going to happen on Monday, or I'm sorry, it was going to happen today, but we're pushing it to Monday because of the patching that we have to do to WordPress core today. So we don't want to patch anything today because of what we're doing with WordPress itself. We don't like to do things on Fridays because if something breaks, most of us aren't going to be available over the weekend to unbreak it. So we're going to do it Monday, so that way we're here to make sure that things work okay. Redirection plugin, no big change there. Nothing to really be aware of. The Gravity Forms plugin, however, there is a little bit that you're going to have to be aware of with that one. So first and foremost, what you'll see over here on your menu side is the icon is changing for Gravity Forms. It threw me off at first, and I've used Gravity Forms quite a bit. So just be aware of the fact that it is changing. Whoops. Window. Over to you. And then the other thing to notice is for Gravity Forms, the interface is entirely different. It looks different. So just be aware of the fact that there might be some fields, some options that you've used that are either in a different spot or maybe got removed. I haven't found anything that's been removed yet, but so again, this all looks different. When you go to create your form, give me a second as this goes in. Okay. This all looks different as well. So just be aware of this as you move forward. Everything's still over here on the right side. Everything still shows up out here on the main window side, but it looks a lot different. So, for example, if I go down to advanced fields over here, and let's add name, if I just click on it, it shows up over here. You have to click on it to get to the field settings. Beforehand, you had just a little option up here above. Now you have to click on it to get to the options over here. A lot of the things are still similar. So if I click on appearance, if I click on advanced, things of that nature. Let's see, email, same idea. Click on it. You have all of these options over here. The one thing that I wanted to make sure I showed, because it is a little bit different, is nope, I don't want checkboxes. I suppose I do want checkboxes. I'll do HTML block real quick. The conditional logic option changed a little bit. Now, beforehand, this used to be something that existed as part of just the general walkthrough of the window out here, but now it has its own like settings area, and you have to enable it through this little slider, and then you get the option for defining whether or not it appears. So it has to be active here. And so you can turn it off if you need to, or turn it on and then just set your values as necessary. So just be aware of that weird change. I shouldn't say weird. It's not weird. It's new, so it's going to be weird at first. But similar to WP data tables when they did their big update several months ago and it completely changed the way that it looked. Similar thing is happening here with Gravity Forms. All the same functionality, just a different interface now. So if anybody runs into any issues with it once we patch it, I'll feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to chat with everybody about it. So, okay, let's see. That's it. That's the list of items that I had for the agenda today. Anything that I've missed, Jenna? No, you don't. It'll. Sorry, I'm answering Michael's question. No, you don't. It updates everything as is. It's not gonna have any effect on that stuff.
The only thing I can think of is I saw that someone already did this, but encourage you to do that as well. Like we have those feature requests already out there. If they are features that you strongly desire, please feel free to upvote them and add comments to the existing ones too.
Yeah, and if you have any that you want to make, go ahead and throw them into there as we walk through that whole process. Some of you may have requested things many moons ago, and we have tried to keep them in locations that made sense to us, and then we end up having 5 different locations where we have kept things. If we didn't throw it on the board, I apologize sincerely. We, we try to keep track of as much as we can, but if you do want something and you've requested in the past and it's not up there, just go ahead and throw it on the board, and we'll get it added to the list there.
And just to note, like, I hope to do this. I think it's going to be a little bit challenging moving forward as we get more and more of these, but I do have labels for things like in progress or completed. I hope to update those for you so that you can see when we are working on things and you'll have like a little bit of a status. But we also do plan to close anything. So if it's been completed, we'll try to close it. And if it's something that we can't do for a very specific reason, so reasons include things like it's an accessibility concern or just it's not possible or whatever, we would add that as a comment. We'd probably tag you as the person who created it so that you get an email, and then we would close the ticket.
So make use of it. We should probably, I mean, should probably communicate this out to the many number of users we have in our service, and there have been upwards of 30 of you watching this lunch and learn. So we'll probably send this out in a more instructional email in the future as well, just to hit everyone. Let's see. Theme update, June 10th. Plugin updates coming. Data modal. Unlaunched site banner. WordPress core. I think we're good. I didn't feel like we did have a lot to talk about. We end up going an hour. I like it, but where does the time go? Okay, so we'll kind of leave it at that, folks. If you have questions, I'll still be in the chat for a few more minutes once I stop the stream. But otherwise, everyone knows how to get in touch with me. If you don't, matt.goins at wis.edu, cms-support at doit.wis.edu if you want to open a ticket with us. You can reach out to me on Teams. I try to be as quick as I can, turning around to answer questions. But otherwise, we'll call it there for the month. And I think I'll be doing another Learn with Matt next week. Next week, I'm going to try to do. Jenna and I have been kicking around the idea of doing something on Google Search Console. And I'm going to add in also Google Custom Search Engine and like the things that you can do with both of those with Google Analytics. Google Search Console, because we want people to be aware of it first and foremost. And then one of the things that we get questions on often is, how does Google crawl my site? And that's one of the things that you can request through Google Search Console is to have Google recrawl your site. So I'll try and I'll communicate that out next week once I have a thought about what I want to say next week. But I mean, it's Learn with Matt. We learn together. Otherwise, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Everyone.